We're a historic site that we have people that depict the lives of the folks that lived in this region starting in 1775 all the way through 1907.
So I'm just gonna use the plow to get the basic idea of the row, and then I'll come through with the shovel and dig it out more.
We have people that dress in period clothing, appropriate attire, and say, for instance, out at the American Indian area, they would be doing things that American Indian folks would have been doing, putting up their teepee, perhaps butchering animals, cooking, doing repair work, working with the horses, that sort of thing, and then through the homestead and the working ranch and then the manor home. Each of them have their distinct duties and the different lifestyles that took place.
This is made in the exact same manner as the original cabins would have been made, one man with the same tools. It's made out of logs, and in between the logs is a chinking of sand, red clay, ash, and prairie grasses.
Okay, we'll let these sheep out. We've got 6 merino sheep that we sheared on opening day, so they've all got fresh wool cuts. Come on out, ladies. You notice they have tails. In 1800s, they didn't dock the tails of a sheep. I guess they figured a tail was there for a reason, so they left them alone, but now, of course, they dock the tails. People are surprised to see that. We were part of the Garden of the Gods Park, and we are open space, and so people do come through here all the time. I mean, all the time. So we have signs that let people know when we are doing our living history program, so they know there's a fee associated with being here when we are doing those programs. But you know, in the evening, people walk their dogs through here, and it's actually good because a lot of my neighbors help me keep an eye on the place and let me know if something's up, if there's an animal that's out, or if maybe kids are doing something they shouldn't be doing. So it's real nice that people in this area really help me out. People sometimes get lost and they just walk through, and they're always so surprised, and they see people dressed the way they are, and they sometimes wonder if we're an Amish community or something like that. So we explain to them that what we're doing, and even then they kind of look at us kind of strange, like it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And we'll hand them some literature, and sometimes they stay and they're thrilled, and sometimes they kind of wander off scratching their heads and wondering what we're doing.
So a child would do this, and when they got to the wood on the top, then they were ready to milk the cow.
She always acts grumpy when I eat her, but I know she's glad to go out. She's a Guernsey cow, and they're just real sweet. You know, that classic face that everybody likes and this little haircut. Come on. We have a sponsor a cow program where people can sponsor patches. We'll go back over here and we'll check on the pigs. 2 young pigs that we've got that we always butcher one in the fall. It's not always easy. I mean, it's historically done that people, of course, would butcher their animals, and so we do that here. We kind of grow attached to these pigs sometimes because they're nice. They tend to just kind of settle right in, and then we'll raise them and then sell one and butcher one. With a pig, virtually you use everything but the squeal, they say. I mean, you can eat the skin, of course, pork rind. They can use the blood for making blood pudding, the fat for making soap. A pig is an amazing animal, so we do use all that. Over here we have over 600 asparagus plants that historically the Chambers family that lived in the Rockledge house grew asparagus. So we're growing this. We're cleaning it up now. Part of it's kind of weedy, but you can see where we cleaned it. It looks really nice. We should get that all done this week. And then we sell that, or give that actually, to some of the restaurants in town that have helped sponsor that program, some of our agricultural program that we do. And we use all barnyard manure. Our sheep and pig and chicken, cow and horse all goes in that manure pile over there, and then it ages, and then we put it back on the ground and work it in. So I mean, you kind of need a farm to have animals and animals to have a farm, and so it works out really well. This is really good soil now. In this valley it's not very good, but we've amended it so many times that it's really good soil now. And we've got 4 head of draft horses and 1 Mustang. That Mustang was captured in Nevada. He was a wild horse, and he went through the program down in Canyon City where the prisoners train the wild horses. The reason we have a Mustang, I must say, is because for American Indian area, that's the proper breed, of course, as opposed to a draft horse or some other kind. So he's a feisty little guy. You can see how he's laying his ears down now. He's moving that guy out of the way, even though that Shire is much bigger than he is. The Shires are young, and I'm in the process of training them right now, and they're doing quite well. But the Belgians, the brown ones, we use for pulling the wagon, for mowing hay, for hauling hay, for disking, hauling manure spreader, and all those things that they would have been used for. So they're not lawn ornaments. We use them as much as we can. He's a monkey. You're a monkey boy. Where'd you go? Well, they say a horse ought to eat 2% of their weight in hay. So, you know, they eat 20 or 30 pounds of hay. And then we graze them some too. So it kind of depends on the season. In the winter we give them more so they fatten up and stay healthy. In the summer I think they're better if they're a little skinny or a little on the in shape side versus being overweight. So we don't overfeed these animals really. I mean, a bale weighs about 60 or 70 pounds. So we may feed these 5 animals 2 bales total a day. And I know people that feed 1 draft horse a bale a day. So I just don't like having animals that are fat. In the 1960s, this ranch was very close to becoming condos and a golf course. And the people in the community didn't want that to happen. So with money from the El Pomar and Bemis Taylor Foundation, the city was able to acquire this land. And then there was a young fellow by the name of Gene Smith, fresh out of college, that was given the task to figure out what to do with his property. And he came up with the idea of turning it into a living history site. So it has been that ever since. We lost our budget, our funding, on March 31st of this year. And so we are solely responsible now for our survival. I have a very active friends group. We've had fundraisers. We've done a lot of different things so far this year to help raise funds so we can stay open. And I'm confident that we will this year and hopefully into the future.
Yeah, I did. Do you want me to start the fire or wait for you?
People really haven't changed that much if you really think about it. I mean, say in the 1880s, people worked hard. They did things as a family. They enjoyed things. They had a sense of humor. They worried about the future. They dealt with sicknesses, all the things that we all do. And I think the lessons that are taught is, you know, find something that you're passionate about and be good at it. And community is important, and making a mark in the world and making a difference. All those things, I think, are lessons that perhaps a visitor could take away with them. I know it's impacted me. You know, when I'm in period clothing depicting the life of a farmer or a blacksmith or a person making brooms or whatever, I mean, I'm not just play acting. There's times when it's almost strange, but it's like you're really doing this not as a reenactment, but that you're really doing it like the people before you did. And you know, when those times happen, it's kind of magic for us and hopefully also for the visitors. At the previous site that I was at, I was hired to farm with the horses and oxen, and they had a blacksmith shop, and they asked me if I'd be interested in learning. I thought it sounded really neat, and when the manager at that site started the fire and started beating on a hot piece of metal, I was hooked. You know, I've talked to other blacksmiths, and they had similar experiences. So I've been blacksmithing now for 20 years. You get a piece of metal hot and you beat on it. And so that's pretty much what you do. I mean, I love everything about it because you get a piece that's hot, you can shape it. Then when it's done, you've got maybe a beautiful piece or a useful piece, or ideally both. But I love the fact that it's just an ancient noble craft. It's been around, and I'd like to think that we are in some small way keeping this craft alive. People come here, they may never see another blacksmith demonstration, but while they're here, I'm really proud of the fact that we do a demonstration that's done right, and that, you know, there's a certain amount of skill that we have. So we're not just playing around, we're not just talking, we're not just acting like we're doing this. I mean, we're doing this whether somebody's standing in the shop and watching us or not, and we've got lots of work that we can do here that is necessary. We also make things that we can sell in the shop. So we'll work, when we're in here, we're working. We're not just waiting for somebody to walk up. It's not a happy time right now for a lot of people. So it is it's pretty serious. But I'm confident because of the passion people have for this site, for the people that work here, for the people in the community that support us, that we'll continue to be here. We've been here doing living history for 33 years, and I hope to do it for another 33 and beyond. So it is important, and I hope that the future holds good things for us.